Hello everyone, thank you for being here. I am Swastika and I know there are a lot of amazing talks going on, so you all being here means a lot to me. Um, so let's start with introduction. I am Swastika, I work as developer relations engineer. I, sorry, I create educational content on platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter. I enjoy traveling and yeah, so, and for people who do not know what's developer relations engineer, so we are like the bridge between the company and the user. So we build applications using the company's product. We give tutorials on it. We write tutorials. We manage the documentation. We manage the community. We are also the maintainer of the open source projects or repos if we have any in the company. So this is the agenda looks like. We'll see what Python modules are, what is Python packages, how do we search module search path, how do we import modules and packages, what are sub-packages, how does it all work together. Like a lot of people use all of it in their daily code, but there's a confusion like what's the difference between a library, how does a framework work, what is modules, and how is module as a part of package or is this a part of module. So we'll see that all together, and we'll also see what are the benefits of using modules and packages in our Python code. So we all have must seen this code, and I think everyone relates to it. Like when I wrote the code, only God and I understood it, but now only God knows what was happening in the code. So even if we wrote something like a week or a month back, and if we want to go back to it, we are blank. We don't remember what the logic we used at that particular time, how did we go about it, how did we debug it, what was our thought process. So yeah, so to have something, and how do we manage that long code, because having 1,000 lines of code in one file is extremely not next to impossible to understand every bit of it, especially when you're working in a big organizations where you have multiple people working on the same project. You cannot know everything. People work on different functionalities, you work on different features. So if you want to go make changes to a different feature which you have not coded from scratch, so that's difficult. So yeah, now let's see how modules and packages solves this problem. So let's go back a bit here again. We have two major problems. One is you do not have a proper structure when we have a huge line of code, and another one is you do not know where the particular code exists. Like if you want to, for example, in an e-commerce, you want to change something in the cart. If it's all in one file, that's impossible to do for somebody who has not written that code, or for somebody who has even written that code as well. And then, so yeah, these are the few things which modules and packages comes in the picture to solve. So for here, you can take an example of, like, for example, ABCD is a whole file, which is built of A, B, C, D. There are four different features or functionalities which are coded in just one single file. And if you want to make a change to A, there are high chances that if you make some changes in A, the whole code can break. Or if not, if somebody else who has not written or seen this code before might not be able to make changes to a particular feature. So what we did was for instance, A and B had some similar functionality. So we put them together. We made a different module called AB, and then we made another file called CD. So now we have two different files, AB and CD, which are the modules. And in modules, you can have script. It's just like a simple Python script. You can have classes, you can have variables, you can have functions, and anything and everything. So after that, once we have AB, then we thought maybe this could be, again, split into much smaller pieces and have smaller functionalities. Then we broke it down a further bit, which is A and B, C, D. So now we have four different functionalities. These are all can be integrated together. So if you want to make changes to A, their chances of getting the whole code broken is pretty much lesser than using all the four A, B, C, D in one file. So yeah, now we have, for example, now we have two different separate files. One is ABCD, one is GHIJ. So the first file has four features which are ABCD, and the another one goes similar, GHIJ. But we want to incorporate those different features into one file. So we can use those features, A, B, C, D, separately with the another file, and we can have another file which could be named as GABJ, which can have the different functionalities of the first file and the second file. So you can use all. This shows the reusability of the modules, how they can be used, and how flexible we are when we have when we have broken our code into smaller pieces. Because if we had one singular file, which was ABCD in one file, and that it was impossible to use those functionalities again in another file or in another code. So what's packages? Packages are nothing but the group of modules. For example, here we saw these are different modules. So if we group together A and B, because they have similar functionalities or properties, or maybe working on some particular design or feature, they can be grouped together. Because then further down, even if they are grouped together, they can be used separately, like A and B, and they can be used together as a package, which will have obviously more functionalities and features. So this is how a package look like. So it can have multiple. These are the multiple modules here. And if you see this is a package. So you can have multiple modules in a package. Then you can store that package in another package, which of course will increase the functionality and the features. So you can have as many packages you want inside a package, which are called sub-packages. And then you can, inside a sub-package, you can again have modules or packages. So this is an example of simple bookstore app where you can buy books, you can see what the authors have to say about book, what are the books there, and what you can log in, you can log out, you can log in as a user, or you can log in as an author. So yeah, so if we have to build everything in one single file, it's just next to impossible. If we have to route everything in one file, we have models so here models will, and yeah, so one more thing. When we have packages, the difference between module and packages is we have to define and it can be an empty file, but you have to define a init.py file so that your interpreter knows that it's a package and not a module. So you define an init file, it could be empty, and then you can have multiple packages or modules inside that particular file. So in models, packages, we will have books, we will have authors, we will have users. In books, we will see what's the title of the book, what's the rating of the book, what's the genre of the book, and then in authors we will have the name of the author, nationality, what kind of books he or she writes, and yeah. And in user you can have their login information, their username, their whatever else information is required for somebody to create an account on the website or on the app. So in routing, again, in routes we have a sub-package inside user routes. So in user routes, we can have another user management tool where a user can change their settings if they want to maybe use dark theme, light theme, what would be their shipping address, everything could be inside this. And then we can have further more modules and packages inside this as well. In services, we will see like what if we can make changes to the books, we can add information to the books, we can remove books, we can add more books. In author, again, we can replace an author if somebody has co-authored a book, or somebody made changes to their book or in their bio, that all can be updated here. And then in tests, so another good thing about using modules and packages is you can test every single package independently, and it wouldn't affect the whole functionality of the whole product. So you can test the author routes here, you can test the authors, you can have multiple more modules and files inside it, so see what else, everything you want to test separately. Okay, so let's see how do we import a module in a file. So here we have a simple function. One is the first one is adding two numbers. The second one is subtracting two numbers. So this is a small example, but for example, you have a fully functioning calculator. So there you will have percentage, you will have multiplication, you have division, you have square roots, and a lot of more maths functionalities. So if you want to and having everything in one code is again hassle. So we'll have different functions inside a module. and then we'll import this in our main file, which is we just use the syntax import, and we just import the file here. And if we run this, okay. So yeah, we have the addition here, then we subtracted it. But again, using, there could be like 10, 15, hundreds of functions inside a module. So it would make the optimization not that much great. So we can just import a single function as well, which we just want to use if we see it here. Like for example, we just need to use add, we do not want to use subtract, so we can just import from module and import, we will just import the function add here, and if we run this one, we will have the addition of this. So you can have multiple functions inside a module, and it depends on you how many functions or you want to use in that particular area. So there's one more syntax where you can have a list of functions which you want to use in a particular file, and instead of using all the functions inside of a module, you can just choose the ones which you are going to use in a particular file. Okay, and for packages, yes, as I mentioned, you have to have init so that your interpreter knows it's a package and it's not a module, because there's no, like, the syntax for saving a module or a package file is similar. So yeah, that's how we import the modules and packages. Now, once that we have imported the modules or packages, there's a way of how the execution of the program will goes, and how the interpreter will know what module you have imported and how will it search. So the first thing is it's going to go to the current directory. So if you have the module there you go, you have the you'll find the module there. Then the next thing is, so you just import sys and you print it. If I run this, so you have the whole like what's the directory, what's the path for how the files are saving in your system, how it's all working. So we'll just make it much cleaner. Just maybe remove this one. So this is how our whole directory looks like. We can make changes to it, but generally, if this is how the default setting is. So if you want to see where you have to have your modules, some modules or packages inside this, and the other, the Python path environment variable is the another, like, it's you can think of it as a storage container inside a warehouse where everything is already labeled, and you just go, you do not have to search the whole warehouse. You know which module you want to search. Your interpreter knows the name. It will just go and search for it. So if it doesn't find the your module inside the environmental variables, then it's going to go to a standard library, which are automatically downloaded when you install Python in your system. So, and then last is site packages. So even if we do not find the module anywhere, then it's going to give you error that module not find. So in that case, there are chances that you have made a typo or something, or you do not have a module. And in another case, there could be chances that you saved it somewhere else, which our module search path cannot figure it out. So what we can do is we can change the module path. So there are two ways to setting the environment variable. One is temporary, which is like it will work only for your current session, the code you are running at that particular time. And another one is permanent environment variable, where it will be changed forever. So every time you do not have to change it. Once you change it, it's done and dusted. So for changing it temporarily, you just have to run this command, and your modules will be changed. Okay, I've already changed it. So that's how you can have Python path, and you have your username and whatever the directory you want to save it, you save it like this. But this will only work for this particular session. Once you close the terminal, it's not going to work anymore. So for that, you have to change it in the permanent environment variable. To do that, we have a few things to do. First, we figure out which terminal we are using. Are we using Bash or we are using Z shell? So for example, I'm using Z shell here. So we have to go inside the Z shell terminal. And once we run this first command, we are inside the terminal. And then we again have to define the path. This would be different on your local system. Once you define the path, you save you save your file there, and then you run the source of ZSHRC, and that's how the path is changed for forever. And you can further change it as well, but for this one, that's enough. Okay. So let's just see this one as well. How does it all work together? So if you are building a house, you can think of modules are the bricks, which are like the building blocks of your house. These are the smallest structure, but these are very, very necessary for the whole final output. So once these are packaged together, we can have it like a palette of bricks, which would have a similar functionality. Like, for example, here it could be used to build a bedroom. And when we relate it to coding, it could be used for a particular functionality or a feature in a website or in a web application. And then libraries are the building blocks. Like, you have to use the modules and packages, but the libraries will make sure that you have the right tools to use your modules and packages and build something out of it, because the bricks and pallets of bricks is not enough to build a complete house. Then we have framework. Frameworks are predefined. Like for modules, packages, and libraries, they can be changed. We can use it on our terms, how we want to use it, how we want to structure it. But when it comes to frameworks, those are predefined. They have structures, they have rules. You cannot change them. You have to use that in your project according to what's stated in that particular framework. For example, Django, Flask. So you cannot change it, but you have to then you use the libraries, packages, modules inside it according to like how you want to use it, and then that's the home is your whole application. Benefits of modules and packages, of course, reusability, because one file cannot be used anywhere else. If you have if you have broken down your code into smaller pieces, you can use it in different code bases. You can use it at some other place. The reusability of that particular code could be increased, and you can use it anywhere else, wherever you want to use it. Then, maintainability, yes, of course. Once you have smaller pieces, everybody who does not even have access to your code and reads your code for the first time would still can make out where the namespaces is, what the variables names we have used, and can go through it if they want to change any particular functionality inside your code. And code modularity, yeah, again, as I mentioned before, if you have smaller files inside one big project, they can be tested independently. You can make changes to it. It would not affect your whole applications. There would be, even if that code breaks, there are less chances of breaking the whole code base, and you can just maybe debug it and fix that particular module or package there itself. Scoping, so if we have like one big file, then you have to use different names, you have to use different variable names, different classes, different file names every time. But if you're using modules, then you can have similar name of variables in 2 different modules, and it will have a different scope, so it would not jeopardize your whole code. So yep, that's about it. And thank you for being here. And this is my LinkedIn and Twitter. You can connect me by scanning this one. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. If anyone have a question, we can, because I have no question on Slido. If someone wants to pose a question live, I can give you the microphone. No question? Okay.
What are classes? Is it does it have something to do with modules and packages?
No, it does not. A module can have anything inside them. So it can have classes, it cannot have classes, it can have variables. So that classes is a whole different concept of OOPS program. So it's a different field. So it can be included in modules or packages, but yeah, it's not related to it.
Other question? Okay, so let me to thanks again our speaker. Thank you. And
I'd like to add one more thing. I'd like to thank PyCon Italy for their diversity grants and their sponsorships, which can make it possible for us to come here, and for flying me all the way from India to here. So thanks a lot for that.